For it. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And he's dead. Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Ultimatum League 3.14. In this episode, I want to make a video about Stormbrand and Swiftbrand support. So if you saw that first clip with Alhazmin, we were able to put 2 brands on the enemy with Runebinder, and it instantly spawned 4 Herald of Purity. So what is going on there? What are we doing? I want to explain real quick how the Stormbrand, Swiftbrand interaction works and why I did it. So to start it off, I want to go over, let me add cam. I want to go over what Swiftbrand support is. Everyone, I think, knows what a Stormbrand is. You put a brand on an enemy and it zaps it every 0.5 seconds while attached to the enemy. Swiftbrand makes it so that you can get 64% more activation frequency and then increased activation frequency with the quality. You can also go for a different alt quality Swiftbrand support, but I chose just the generic one for this example. And so 64% more activation frequency, which means how fast the brand triggers. So instead of 0.5 seconds, mine's all the way down to 0.23 in this build. And so this is for the Herald of Purities. We're running the Runebinder to put 2 on an enemy, and they're triggering every 0.23 seconds. So they're triggering over 4 times a second because of the Swiftbrand support. And this is just one gem link that's almost as effective as Runebinder. So now I'll show you. Without Swiftbrand, it's 0.4, and it went down to 0.23. This is absolutely disgusting. And so you saw in the first clip, Alhazmin, I got to instantly stack my Herald of Purities on a boss, which obviously being able to spawn the Heralds even faster in a boss is nice. And then I found that then in mapping, let's say a rare would spawn 1 Herald of Purity, now it'll spawn 2. This is actually like twice as good just for putting a Swiftbrand support, and all I had to do to fit this in the build was drop Convocation, and to be honest, I wasn't even using the Convocation in all of my tests. I never used it, and so this was pointless anyways. I had an extra gem, so I just switched Pride to my main weapon in the trigger wand because it doesn't trigger the Pride. I moved Flame Dash to this scepter, and now we have Stormbrand, Swiftbrand. And then, so the Stormbrand now doesn't stay as long on the target. It's only attached for 1.75 seconds. But to be honest, that attached length is still really long, and you have no issue summoning all your Herald of Purities, and it's probably better this way for it to be faster, and the damage doesn't matter anyways. Like the speed at which, or the duration of the attach or the detach or any of this doesn't really matter, and we just want to be able to spawn our Herald of Purities even faster. So overall, through testing, I found this to be a huge improvement to the build, and I would highly recommend this, and I would even put this in my budget build over Convocation linked to the Stormbrand, but then it messes up my like 3-link Hex Touch vulnerability. You might have to have a 4-link, but I really like this for the Stormbrand. It's sick, and I find it helps the upkeep. I have some more bosses I want to showcase with this, and then I want to also mention, so I'm going to show that in a sec. I wanted to mention I looked at all the brand nodes on the skill tree, and I was noticing that we have brand attachment range, brand damage, casting an additional brand. You have crit multi and crit chance for the brands. You have this one for duration and brand recall cooldown recovery rate, but I found there was nothing really else worth taking for the brands for what we're trying to do. This one was kind of cool. Runesmith. Enemies take 5% increased damage for each of your brands attached to them, and there's also a medium cluster jewel with enemies take 5% increased damage for each brand, so you could get 2 of them, and then that would be 10% increased damage, which is pretty cool for medium clusters. But besides that, we probably would do the Herald of Purity clusters anyways if we did medium clusters. And the last thing, I found that cast speed actually affects the brand activation frequency. So if you took like generic cast speed, you actually get a bonus to your speed of activation, but it doesn't seem worth it because it's the only thing in the entire build that scales off cast speed. So I preferred, after all this in mind, I preferred just doing the regular extra support gem of Swift brand support, and you'll now, everyone I hope tries this, uses Swift brand with their Storm brand for their Herald of Purity build, and appreciates this and likes it, and I think everyone will like this better than without it, and it's the new meta of my new meta build that I'm creating. Herald of Purity is going to be the best build next season. On top of it, we're improving it as we go. It just keeps getting better and better, and so now if you had any issues keeping them up fully 4 stacked in a map, now you're more easily going to get all 4 Herald of Purity spawned on 1 rare. Easy game. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. Fast they spawn. 2, 3, 4. Insta-killed. And now let's kill him on the... Oh my god. This shit's so funny. Wait, there we go. Boom, 4. For this. It's insane. 2, 3, 4. Awakener 9. Let's go. Portal's open, and I'll see you guys at the boss. Fixed. So fast. How fast can we kill him? 2, 3. Okay, he's dead here. Woo! Let's extra bonus clip. So, I wanted to include this. Like I said, cast speed affects the Storm brand, and so you can get cast speed from the quality from the Storm brand, which increases the effect. That's cool. You can increase the area of effect to help, like for mapping, if you want it where you don't have to target the thing as much. You can get it to chain more, a chance to chain an additional time, and you could get the shock. The shock isn't good because we don't do a lot of lightning damage, so the shock amount isn't high, so I don't recommend this. And I like the cast speed or the chain better. I like cast speed the most because activation, and then we have increased activation frequency as the quality on Swift brand, which is similar to the more activation frequency, and you can see that the activation frequency scales with level. So you want a level 20 Swift brand, maybe even 21, and you wouldn't really want to have, it doesn't matter about the less attached duration or detached duration because we kill them so fast, and it's about getting the Herald of Purity spawned. This isn't for damage. And then supported skills have 1% more activation frequency of 75% of attached duration expired. So you could benefit from the whole, like, the fact that the duration's only like 1.5, 1.7 seconds. Then when it's in the 25%, the last 25, it has more activation frequency instead of increased. But I just like the generic increased, and it's the regular Swift brand, so you don't have to get an alt quality gem, and it's easier. And so then I go back. Also, a side thing that people don't know is this says fires beams which deal damage to nearby enemies and those around them. So people have been giving me recommendations for other things to trigger my Herald of Purity, and I would like to say to them that this is better than they think, and it sends beams to 3 enemies, including the branded enemy. And then it has chaining, AoE. There's an AoE that happens. And then we're doing all this stuff to scale brands, so I really like this brand Herald of Purity build. And it also tells you here, because I told you that cast speed helps, one of people's first thoughts after hearing cast speed might be Spell Echo. This says Storm brand currently functions with Spell Echo so far as repeating the initial cast of the brand, so you can get 2 brands, but then the more casting speed multiplier in Spell Echo does not, however, affect the activation speed of the brand once attached to a target. So don't use Spell Echo. And there's no functionality mentioned for this because it's pretty straightforward. And we don't really have the downside of these two because it's just about getting our 4 Herald of Purity spawned as fast as possible. And this with Runebinder is legit my favorite way to spawn Herald of Purity. It's absolutely disgusting. It's so sick. And I hope you guys like this. Yeah, Pog, extra Bart. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon and my YouTube members who financially support the channel. Thank you guys for all the support. I can't do this without you guys, so thank you guys so much. And thank you to anyone new who joins the Patreon or the YouTube members today. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!